Welcome everybody to Confidence Factor Talks. Hey, my name is Rudy LaRose, and guess what? We in the building tonight. Man, I'm always excited to be in the building, man. This is one of my favorite moments of the week. I get a chance to connect with my brothers and connect with you as the audience. So if you're watching today, there's a few things. There's some instructions I have for you. Welcome to the greatest show on earth. That's right. CF Talks in the building for men, by men, and women, because we do have women that back us up, man. And we look forward to having them on the show. Matter of fact, next month is Mother's Day, so Mother's Month, rather. So we're going to be having some ladies on the show for sure. So be sure to catch that. If you're watching us for the first time, I need you to do me a huge favor. Go to www.streamyard.com/Facebook. Please do it now to be able to add StreamYard to your Facebook so that we can actually see who's interacting with us. And if you are understanding, feeling, resonating, connecting with what we're talking about, be sure to put in hashtag heart level. And we'll be talking about that later on today, what that all means. And finally, if you're watching the replay, put in hashtag replay so that we can also know that you are watching it over and over and over and over again. Because tonight's going to be a fire show. We got the man in the house. That's right, the man, not that man, but this man that is going to give us some incredible information about writing. If you are wanting to be a writer, or if you're already a writer, you got stuff, man, this show is going to be down in the archives because this show is going to be one for the books. We're talking about idea to audience, how to publish your way to entrepreneurial success, how to publish your way through entrepreneurial success. And of course, your boy right here is an author from a couple years ago. And so is this guy right here, this guy right here. And this guy right here, he's working on his. So I'm waiting for the book. But we understand that it's important to get the messaging out no matter who you are. If you are a professional at what you do, you must have a book. It is your business card. It is your entryway. It is your red carpet. It's everything that you need it to be in order to connect with your idea audience. And so I implore you to watch the show tonight to get some incredible tips on how to be able to make that happen from the man coming up soon. I'm not even going to spill the beans, man. But what's up, fellas?
What's going on?
I'm excited to be in the building.
Yes, sir. Hey, Gary, you back?
Hey, I'm back. I'm glad to be back.
You're in the estate.
You got a voice?
Can you guys hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You got a voice?
Are you in the States,
man? Y'all know. I'm not at the States. I'm in Florida, but I'm not at the States.
Okay. That background looks a little different.
Undisclosed location. You know what I'm saying?
Undisclosed location. You know.
Right.
VIP day today. Today. But hey, listen. But I'm excited to be here with you fellas. Definitely looking forward to this topic and looking forward to this discussion because, you know, when you think about being an author, when you think about being a writer, it's about expressing your voice. It's about sharing your voice so you can impact other people's lives. And I know the guest today is going to be sharing some amazing strategies and tips about how we can do that in a way that creates more impact. So I'm excited to have a guest on today. But how are you fellas, man? How you fellas been doing, man? I miss you guys. I've been gone for about a week and, you know, I'm back now.
Come on, brother. You didn't miss us. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. You didn't think about it. Listen, we saw the pictures. You ain't think about us. Come on.
We saw the pictures. You ain't miss us, bro.
Yeah.
You ain't miss us.
I don't had a heart level conversation.
Nah, man. You listen.
Oh, man.
You look like you had way too much fun to be thinking about us. But, you know, I appreciate the effort. I appreciate the effort, brother.
Didn't even see the shirt out there, bro. Normally he'll wear the shirt. Didn't even that shirt wide open. You know what I'm saying? At least he could have a CF tattoo on the chest. Nothing, bro. Nothing.
No CF tattoo on the chest. Not this year. Not yet. Next year. Next year. But listen, if you're under the sound of our voice, you're hearing Confidence Factor. We're having heart level conversations that lead to transformation. And as you guys know, we're a community to help to support men to be able to grow, to find their way, to be able to have these conversations that lead to transformation, to have what we call a GPS, right? The goals, the process, the support system to get them to whatever destination they're looking to arrive at. And we love to have this community and a space where guys can have their confidence factor, develop their confidence factor, right? And we do that by developing, of course, our smart curriculum, right? It's all about number one, self-mastery, right? Without self-mastery, that is the foundation upon you build your success. Whether you're trying to build a successful business, whether you're trying to build a successful life, right? You start with the self-mastery. And the next thing, of course, you got to have accountability. You have to have a team, a tribe, a community of people that's going to support you on your journey. Because the truth is, we can't build anything on our own. And so having people there to hold you accountable to your dreams and the things that you say you want to do is going to help you to accelerate the process towards those goals. And last but not least, you have your smart marketing or smart self-mastery. You have your accountability, and of course you need the resources and tools, right? So you have to have the right type of information. You have to have the right education. You have to have the right tools to help you to support and build whatever you're looking to build. And we're here to support you with those right tools. And that's why we're having this discussion today, to bring on experts who are going to share some great information with you to help you have the right tools and information to grow. So, man, I'm excited to be back in the saddle with you fellas. And I'm looking forward to today's conversation. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
I'm looking forward to hearing this man's story, man. I got a chance to dive into it, and it's just like one thing after the next, and it was like, whoa, and you're still standing, you still here, like you still, you know what I'm saying? Like that's exciting for me about this show, is that not only we get to bring entrepreneurs, who come here and share incredible tips with us about their different crafts, but their stories, man, when they talk about where they've been and where they are now, it's encouraging for me as an entrepreneur, because I know the conversations that happen in the back end that most of you guys don't get to see, because we do have a private community. Don't get it twisted. There's some conversations that happen that, honestly, if I told you that men get to talk like that, a lot of people would be shocked. And so even coming here in this space that is a public space, and yet be able to share some of the things that we hear from these guests, man, is incredible for me. So I'm excited about this interview for sure.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. So if you're coming in onto the Sound of a Voice, we're here talking about an important topic, right? And it's one that I know so many entrepreneurs are interested in, because everybody's looking for a way to stand out. Everyone's looking for a way to differentiate themselves. Everyone, if you have a business and you're looking to be able to have a competitive edge, then this is a conversation that you want to be part of. We're talking about idea to audience, how to publish your way to entrepreneurship success. And, I wanted to kind of go around the room before we bring on a guest on. We're talking about success. And I wanted to ask the question, because this is a big one. What does success as a definition mean for you? And I want you, if you're listening to us, of course, I want you to put down in the comment section, like, what does success mean for you? We're talking about, of course, publishing our way to entrepreneurship success. What does success mean to you? I think it's important that we have that conversation. So real quick, who wants to take that first? Lamont, I see you smiling, man. I think you want to jump in and kind of share your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, I think, we talk about success, it's going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm, right? That's what we believe, right? That's what we believe, right? So, I think as when we talk about success, a lot of people kind of remove failure from success. But failure is a part of success, because it's just through the failures that you actually learn, grow. And instead of running away from failure, and I think a lot of times we fear failure, what stops us when we need to step into whatever we want to do. And if failure comes, it's not really a failure. It's moving you still closer to your goal. So for me, success isn't a destination. Success isn't a bank account number. It isn't a material thing that you have. Success for me is the journey. As long as I'm going to every day put one foot in front of the other and not allow my down days to keep me down and not allow my up days to make me feel like I'm the best man on the earth, but keep it in the, not going in the middle. We don't want a flat line, right? But to be able to keep that heart monitor going up and down, that's success to me.
I love that. Love that, man. I love those analogies that you use, man. That's so powerful. It's part of the process, right?
Yeah.
Rudy, I'm gonna ask you to jump on real quick because I think this is a great segue to then introduce our guest expert here. So talk to me, man. What's your thoughts on that?
Success. For me, I think success can be measured in your ability to go for the things that you desire out of life without being attached to the outcome. Without being attached to the outcome.
I feel that.
I can go for $1 million. I can go for 10,000. I can go for the car I want, the house, the girl, the whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm not attached to the outcome, man. I'm just enjoying the journey. And I think a lot of times, if I think about someone who is going through a weight loss transition, right? There's a couple of ways you can do it. You can go and take the surgical joint, boom, done. Come out next day, you got 6 packs. You know what I'm saying? And to some people, it's like, okay, I've succeeded. I got 6 packs. Other people, it's like, I don't think I want it like that. I want to understand this process. I want to go through the journey. When I get to it, I want to be able to appreciate that more. And so for one person, it's surgical. Nothing wrong with that. It is what it is. The next person is, I want to go to the gym for 6 months, or 3 months or whatever. Or 6 days like Darian. You know what I'm saying? Like some of us, it just takes a little, just saying. But for me, it's really being able to not be attached to, to the outcome of it all, but enjoying the journey of getting there. So
yeah. And I love what you guys are saying. And you talk about process. And as we talk about introducing our guests, I mean, I've known that he is, paid the price to go through a process. He has paid the price to go through a process to learn his craft, to develop his skill, and then now he's here to share with us really how to utilize that craft in a specific way to have entrepreneurship success. Because we all agree that a part of the success equation, we have to embrace those learning moments, those failure moments. So with that, Rudy, I know that you're doing introductions today to bring our guest on. So let's go ahead without further ado, man. Let's bring our guest on because I'm excited to share him with the community and have him tell his story to impact so many lives.
Man, for sure, man. So this young man, I met him through an event that I was not only attending, but I was part of the hosting staff. And what I can remember from a lot of people is just their stories, right? Everybody has a story, and sometimes you think that your story is whatever. Like in my case, sometimes I used to think honestly that I didn't really have a story. I'd never done this. I've never been through this, but it doesn't matter. What your story is. It is yours. It is your blueprint, if you will, or fingerprint rather, to the world and to your environment. And so this gentleman, I met him at Andy Enrique's mastermind class, and I remember him sharing his story, and I remember how I just was just sat glued and just listened. I was like, wow, man, this guy has quite a story, right? And so we got a chance to talk and things like that. And years later, here he is, still doing his thing, man, still strategizing and planning and doing what he is called to do on this earth, and not making excuses about it. That it doesn't matter where I'm from. It doesn't matter what I've been through. This is what I'm meant to do now. Left corporate, and went on his own and created his lane in the publishing aspect, in the author aspect, and all the things that he does with his business and with his gift. And so I'm excited to have him on the show because I know he's going to have not only tremendous value to offer in the area of authors and speakers and things like that, but also in the area of just being able to keep going, man. So without further ado, I'd like to bring Mr. AKA Dwight, AKA Mr. Fortune, in the building with us tonight. What's going on, man?
Yeah, y'all got to turn up the applause, man. I like that. I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all for the opportunity to get out here. Y'all fine gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Enjoying a moment here. I appreciate it.
And I forgot to mention that is not Kirk Franklin's little brother. I'm just gonna say that. I know he gets that all the time.
You know, I've been called many, big Kirk Franklin. Then back in the day, remember hip hop? It was a Rap in the Basement, Big Tigger, like Tigger. They used to call it.
Oh wow, yeah.
So yeah,
down in Atlanta, ATL.
Mm-hmm.
Man, welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the show. How you doing today, sir?
I'm truly blessed. It's been a really good day, and it's only gonna get better, man. That's what's going on.
Well, last time I saw you, you didn't have as much white hair, so you must be doing something right. You know what I'm saying? You must be grinding. You know what I'm saying?
Look, the gray hair is a blessing. It works both ways,
Well, man,
I love it.
I'm so thankful you're on the show, man, and it's been a long time coming. I want to get started by asking you, who is Mr. Fortune? That is the question.
It's a simple answer for me. I'm a child of God. I mean, that's it. I mean, there's nothing more for me than that. I'm a child of God. I had a long journey to get there and remember it. I say remember that because, I believe as children, we all know if you're brought up with some type of introduction to God, that you're a child of God. And sometimes we forget that along the way when, as my mentor say, when life shows up, we got to deal with life on life's principles, right? And we can lose sight of the fact that I'm a child of God. Or in my situation where I got arrogant and because I knew I was the child of God, and I was like, well, shoot, I'm good. I can go do whatever I want to do because I'm a child of God, right. Like real arrogant.
Right.
And he sat me down for a minute. But we'll get there.
So take us back to your child moment, if you will. Speaking of being a child of God, what was that like for you? Growing up. I don't know if it was in Indianapolis or somewhere else, but what was that like for you growing up, man?
So for me, this was I've been to church all the time, man. It was not where I was going like on Wednesday and Monday night service. I wasn't doing all that, but it was regular attendance at church. And I remember most of the time when I was in church, I was trying to listen, which I think is a little different for kids, because you get in there, especially when we're talking about 2-3 hour church services. We wouldn't know like 45 minutes and get up out of there. It's 3 hours,
You tarrying, brother. You tarrying.
And I got this tie on, cutting off circulation, and I'm trying to listen to what the person's saying. And then I'm looking in the Bible and it's got these ye's and therefores and thuses and thou shalt. And I'm like, I don't know what any of this stuff means, but it has some meaning and he means what he's saying because he's shouting and everything right there, right? And we hear all the time. But I remember a lot of the conviction for a spiritual guide, someone to be connected to God, came from Bible study. It really did. I was blessed to be around people that were great storytellers that would allow to bring the scripture to life. And those stories are what helped me be like, all right, well, what else is there in this book? Because I don't want to read it. It's long and I don't know what this stuff means, but I'm definitely interested in what's in here. And it continued for the rest of my life. To this point, I have no problem talking about God at all to anybody.
And was this with your mom, dad? Did you have siblings growing up around with that, or?
We all, and the interesting thing there is, it was both my parents. I was blessed to have both my parents my whole life. going to church was part of what we did, but it wasn't necessarily like, you're going to learn this Bible. Like, it wasn't none of that, because they believed in that scripture where it talks about, you know, bring him up in the way he's supposed to be. And when he gets old, he will not stray, right? He'll come back. So they weren't worried about it. Just keep bringing him in and God's going to do what he does, right? And there was a point where my sister and I we both went on our journeys. And I went and started loving martial arts. So I got into looking at Taoism, and I started looking at Confucianism, and like I was going through all those things. And when I found a Quran at some point, like randomly, and I was like, hey, can I have this Quran? You're not reading it. So I got a Quran somewhere, started reading. I was like, this is interesting. Like, and so as I started looking and exploring all these things, then I ended up reading a book by the Dalai Lama where he starts talking about how apparently like all the heads of these different religions come together and they talk or whatever. I'm like, well, if they're all getting together, then it's probably not that big of a difference. Like, what is this all about? And that's where this idea for me came up, that we're all talking about the same guy, but God has to come at us in different angles. There's a certain reason why we have you have the Ford, you have a Cadillac, you have the Mercedes, and then you have these top high end. Some people drive like the trucks, some people like the motorcycles, but it's all a vehicle to get somewhere. It's just what vehicle do I prefer? And I believe that there's a lot of truth to that when it comes to the spirituality, not necessarily the religion, but the spirituality of what these religions are talking about. Is that this is just a vehicle. God's like, I know you ain't gonna take me in the form of this, so I gotta give it to you in this form, because he knows better than I know myself. That's what I believe came around to. But then the Dalai Lama also went into talking about the connection between science and spirituality, and that they're talking about the same thing. Proof of this and that, and they're everywhere at all times, cannot be destroyed. And it's like, well, that sounds really familiar. That's what they were talking about with energy over here. So they're really talking about the same thing. And what came true to me, this statement came true, is that science is proof of life through facts, and that spirituality is proof of life through faith. But here's the interesting thing.
I like that.
In order for me to believe in facts, I must have faith in what I saw. And in order for me to believe through faith, then I have to look at all the facts around me to give me evidence of my faith. So it's all together, yin and yang, all connected, all over the place. Right. I got real deep in the beginning. My bad.
Listen, I love where you're taking us, man. I love where you're taking us. That's really, really good. And I think there's a Chinese proverb that says that no tree would ever be so foolish to have its leaves and its branches fight among itself. And I think that's basically what you're saying. Listen, everyone, whether it be facts or faith, they're all evidence of the same thing. That we all want humanity to come from one root, one source. And we must all celebrate in that source. So I love that, you're bringing that to this conversation. These conversations are so powerful, man. You never know where they're going to go. I love it.
And I usually call it the glue, GLUEW, meaning that we're talking about God, light, universe, earth, energy, whatever is that glue that holds us all together.
Man, I think it's a powerful thing that when one begin to really dive in as to who they are and more importantly why they're here, there are certain questions you start asking yourself that it's gonna take you there, man. And if you're afraid of going there, you're gonna spend your rest of your life just asking, who you are. I was listening to a sermon this weekend, and it was talking about basically identity, and now how many people struggle with their identity. The second reason of death among 10 to 14-year-olds is suicide, because they don't know who they are. And so we spend life, we spend hours and days and months and years trying to figure out who we are, man. And this is like you said, being able to go back to look at the facts, look at the science, look at, understand that if you really truly want to succeed in life, you got to find out who you are, and you got to find out why you're here, why you created it, and the purpose around all of that. So I'm glad you were created, Mr. Fortune, and I'm glad that you're here for this time.
I do want to speak to that. Rudy.
Go ahead.
I do want to speak to that. Is the idea of knowing who you are. And for me, it really comes back around to knowing whose you are. Okay. Because if I think about this, I'm gonna go back to cars again. Who's the best person to go? If I have a Ford, who's the best person to go to get my Ford fixed?
Not Chevy.
Exactly. Exactly. So if I feel like my life is broken, and I don't know my purpose is, then I need to go to my creator to ask what is my purpose?
Right.
But if I don't know whose I am, I can't go ask that question. Now I'm continuing to be lost.
Right.
You know, Viktor Frankl talked about in Man's Search for Meaning, talk about in order for me to be satisfied with my life, to find some life satisfaction, I must define the meaning for my life. But the thing about it is, too many people are out here looking for the answer, but they don't know what they're looking for anyway. So you're looking over it. You know, like my daughter, and still does now. I tell her to go grab something out of her room. She can't find it. Where is it? I go up there and grab it. Right, it's right there in front of you. How do you not see that? Because they're blind to what's right in front of them, and it happens so often, even as adults. So what I have learned to do, when I've taught other people to do, is to remember this phrase: God can't steer a parked car.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you're taking notes, you need to write that down.
Yep.
God can't steer a parked car. And what does that mean? What I'm saying is, instead of you sitting here trying to figure out what your purpose is, define a personal mission for yourself right now. And just like that GPS system that says, when I'm trying to go from Indianapolis to get out here to Fort Lauderdale, then first my car is going to say, go to the end of the street and turn right. Hey, Darian, until I go to the end of the street and turn right, what is my GPS going to do? Nothing.
Keep telling you.
It's going to tell me to go to the street and turn right. So what I'm saying is, if you define your goal, where you're trying to go, and start walking, God's going to guide you to where he wants to go. There's going to be people, places, things, ideas that will come in there and say, you know what, let's go this way. That's not where I really want you to go. But if you ain't doing nothing, what's God going to do with you?
Mm-hmm. It's good
go
stuff.
Start to find a mission for yourself. Go out there. God will start steering where you need to go.
And I also believe too, I share this analogy a lot of times. Sometimes people want to get in the car and pull up on the side of the road and not do anything and think somebody's going to come and help you. They're not. You're sitting in your car. You ain't doing nothing. I promise you, though, get out that car, start pushing. You're going to see a whole lot of people pulling over, because I've done it many times, to help you. So I love that concept, man. And it's definitely important. So we're talking tonight, once again, if you guys are watching here on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever you're watching, we're with Mr. Fortune. And tonight we're talking some key strategies to be able to reach the entrepreneurial level that you need to reach when it comes to publishing your creativity, your craft, your ideas, your goals. And I want to go into that.
Hold on. Before you do, I have a question for Mr. Fortune. Can you take us back to 2014? Do you mind? You mind?
2014. All right.
Yeah, that's 9 years ago.
If I can't start. I put it like this: within 45 minutes of being released in August of 2014, I was high again. But let me tell you what happened before then. So in 2013, early in 2013, in the spring, I was out being a fool, being a knucklehead, because I had addiction and I wanted to fuel my addiction. So I went out to start boosting. Okay, for those of you who don't know, that means I was stealing. Okay. All right. And I got caught. First felony. I do my home detention and I got a little netbook and I started learning about the internet marketing. Like, this is going to be cool. This is what I'm going to do. But when I get off home detention, guess what I go back out to doing? Right back out to them streets. And here he come the first Thursday in November. I'm back out there acting a fool, get caught boosting again. So I get another felony. I go in there, God, I'm not going to do this again. I can't do this. Let me get up out of here. I need your help. Parents end up bailing me out that Thursday, that weekend. I get out on Monday. That following Thursday, like I get out on Monday, Thursday again, I get caught doing the same thing. So here I am, 3 felonies in the same year for the same crime, right? That means through that 3 strikes rule, I should have been going straight to prison. But God had a different story for me. Now, I have to say this also. I ended up picking up 2 more felonies while I was locked up. So for the next 9 months, I ended up picking up 2 felonies somehow while I'm locked up. I don't know how I did it, but I ended up with 5 felonies. While I'm sitting here locked up, waiting to find out what's going to happen to me, I start going through this whole process of trying to change my life around. I started reading these books again. I started getting back to my scripture. I started leading a Bible study, and I'm listening to K-Love Radio every morning. Like, that's my jam, you know, and here it's singing, speak life. Like with my headphones, I'm screaming and stuff, you know. I end up getting called the professor. Like, that's where I came up with the professor. When some of you know me from my live streams early on Facebook. This is what I was doing, trying to rebuild my life. But I remember when I first got in there, I remember sitting on this hard jail cell bunk, and I have my face in my hands, and I'm trying to figure out, how did I do it again? Like, how? I just got out like a week before then. How did this happen? I'm listening to the people around me just banging on the walls and doing all the stuff they're doing inside the jail, making all this noise. And I'm saying, God, I know I said this last week, and I said it earlier this year, and I said it 2 years ago, and 2 years before that, because recidivism is real. If you get me out of here, I will change. And that's part of the reason why I had to learn how to change myself. I spent the next 6 months going back and forth to court trying to get out. Like, I'm doing all the things. Like, I'm going to whatever program they had, I was going there. How to get a better father, how to do this and that and the other. I'm tutoring people. I'm doing all the things trying to get out. So I remember about 6 months in, I had a green folder. It is on the green folder, I have one slide. I have all of the programs I've been in. The left side, I have some other paperwork that I was using to try to leverage myself to get out. I've written the Psalms 23 prayer down in the bottom right folder, and I'm reading it over and over and over that night. I wake up ready to go to jail, ready to go to the court. And here's the thing, y'all. When you're going to go in front of the judge, you want the judge to be in a good mood. There's a lot of research that shows if you want to get out, you want to go before lunch, because after lunch, they're tired, they're ready to go home, and they've listened to a bunch of people. Well, this day, people are coming in, they're getting released, they're getting shortened sentences. So I'm like, this is the day, right? So I go in there, I'm shuffling in, head held high, hold my little green folder, slap it down, ready to go. They read off all my case numbers, all 5 of them, and then they ask the prosecution, are we ready to proceed? No, Your Honor, we're not. So I did all this work to get prepared, and I couldn't even present my case. I head back to the dorm, and people are like excited. The people in my Bible study are excited. You going out? You getting out? Because everybody's excited when you come back. And hopefully you're getting out, right? Mm-hmm. No, I'm not getting out of here. I'm mad with God. Now think about it. I'm leading the Bible study, but here I am talking about I'm mad with God. So I go to my prayer closet, which is, window cut out, that with my Bible in it. That's my prayer closet. And I'm looking out this window like, God, I did the work. I did this. I'm leading a Bible study. I'm reading. I'm studying. I'm doing all the things. Why am I still here? Just get quiet and just look out the window. Here's a little voice that says, you're not ready. Mm. For whatever reason, I accepted that. I guess I was done enough work to know that I didn't know what I didn't know, and I accepted it. And I got ready for the Bible study because I had to tell them, to tell them about being okay with being mad at God. So I had to get that Bible study that day, right? 3 months later, I finally get released. But I learned in that time span that I just need to do what I need to do my next step, and God's going to help deliver me from wherever he's going to deliver me from. I got to do what I'm supposed to do in that space that I am, and he's going to do the rest for me. And I ended up getting out there about 3 months after that, and that's when 45 minutes, I was high again. Mm. About a month after that, my daughter, who had been born a month in, so she's 2 months at this point, her mother goes back out to the streets. So here I am still facing 12 years of prison. I'm in a drug court program, trying to figure out how to stay clean. Now I got to start to be how to be not only a father, but a daddy, because I already had a son. So I've been a father. I just wasn't a good daddy. So now I had to figure out how to be a daddy and how to get paid and do all these other type of things. And that started my journey to changing my life.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
I almost missed that.
No.
Go ahead, Lamont.
It's so interesting. As you were telling your story, I remember, because I'm an addiction recovery survivor myself.
All right.
And I remember the nights when I would tell God, all right, this is the last time. Mm-hmm. Just the last time. And it wasn't. Mm-hmm. And it just was this continuous cycle until I had another psychosis breakdown. And I said, okay, this is this began the journey. This is when the journey really began of recovery. And even though through that journey, I still had some uses, I know that I was still in process and God was still working with me through it to make those spaces longer and longer and longer and longer. So, man, I thank you for sharing that part of your story, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Rudy, go ahead.
Man, I'm still listening. I'm speechless right now. Like, I'm just like, okay, how do I move on from here?
But I hope I told that well. Since
you did it.
In that day, we had to learn how to tell our stories.
Yeah,
it wasn't 3 minutes like he gave us, but
So here's a good segue. So you went through all of that. How did you maneuver to this whole thing of storytelling and writing? How did you go from that space to where you are today and creating what you've created for yourself?
Oh, excellent. Great question. I got to start off with this. Zig Ziglar. Love me some Zig, some Jim Rohn, they're my dudes, right? Yep. Zig Ziglar. I remember I was riding around putting out these signs as one of my little side hustles, right? You know, those little signs that tell you direction to a new complex is being built. Somebody had to put those signs out. I was one of those guys. So I'm riding around getting high, putting those signs out and listening to Zig Ziglar. This is just kind of what I do. Like, I'm all a constant paradox, right? Walking paradox.
I get you so much right now.
No one ain't able to do it, so I need some help trying to keep doing it, right? Zig's, and I heard Zig saying loud and clear as I'm putting this sign out on the corner of the street. He said, everyone should write a book. I'm like, yes, I got a great story. This is going to be awesome. Then he says, but not everyone should publish. And he said that because the idea of getting very clear about who you are and what you're supposed to be doing with your life. And I had done that while I was locked up. I'll come back to that in 1 second. But he also continues on in this story where he was ready to publish a book and he needed to lose weight so that when the book came out, he had actually lived out the principles of his book. So here I am in 2014. I have these yellow legal pads, right? And I've folded about 5 sheets together and took my little pen, because all you got is like the little ink. You don't get all the other stuff, like little ink, and have your own, drawing out a cover on it, put a table of contents, and start writing out the first beginnings of a book and the principles for it to change my life. Because I figured I'm sober-minded, I'm clean right now. If I write the principles out for my son, then maybe I could give them to him and he could live them out if I couldn't live them out myself. So when I got released in 2014, I decided before Thanksgiving I was going to write that out. So I typed it on a paper with like 20 pages. It was like 20 pages of glory. I was super excited, right? And then guess what I did, Lamont? Nothing. I let it sit on my computer for about 18 months until I met us, and I started living out the principles in the book that I was supposed to have been writing. But then I had this in 2016. I ended up meeting a woman named Cashel Kelly. I think it was 2017. It's Cashel Kelly. And I was at a women's empowerment event. And she was up there spitting these fireballs, man, just blah, blah, blah. You know how you in a crowd and an audience and someone just speaking and you're like, ooh, oh, you're out here just dodging because they throwing and hitting you with them, right? And she said this one, y'all. He had this one for y'all writing, taking notes. She said, God didn't give you a vision for you to put it on layaway. How many of y'all out here put with your vision on layaway? I'm just saying. So one of those things she hit me, and she made an offer to get on a call with her. So I jumped on a call with her and started talking about being a recovering addict, being run over by a truck and having my spine severed in half, like all these other things I wanted to do. And she asked me, what do you want to do with your business? I said, productivity. She challenged me. She said, stop taking God's glory and tell his story, and challenged me to go on Facebook and tell my story being recovery and addiction. And once I did that, I was like, oh, it's time to write this book. And that's when I wrote the book. I took the book into other places and started getting paid to speak, started getting paid to be a coach. Like all the things I was doing for free, I started getting paid because I published that book that year. Then people kept asking me, how did you write the book? How'd you write the book? So what do? I let them pick my brain. I'm sitting down in coffee shops, telling them, here's how to do it. Da, 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 da. Guess how many of them did it? Not a nan one did it. Not a nan one. But everybody that's paying me $3,000 plus is a published author and a best-selling author. So there was something about having them pay to help me tell the story that worked. Now, the principles of being a productivity, of how being in recovery and learning how to change, and that confidence thing that I had to learn and overcome my fears was part of the author journey. So I use all those skills to help me teach people how to write the books and tell their story better, so that they can actually transform. Because what am I missing? You guys have a mission to help 5 million men, I believe it is. I have a mission to help change 1 million lives with my author's books. So I have to get very good at helping them write books and telling stories, transformational stories, to help change those lives. Y'all so quiet. Why y'all so quiet?
Lamont is thinking.
No, I was waiting for Darian to come off mute. All right, well, I mean, that was good. Thank you for that. Wow.
I like the go ahead, Darian.
Okay, so let's go. All right, hold on. So I think what it was, everybody anticipating like who's going to ask the question. So listen, you've been sharing some really powerful stories. So I think one of the things that I want to really get is like, you know, if someone has a story, they have a business, they want to be able to become a published author.
Absolutely.
Like, really, let's go into some of the key strategies and tactics around what is it, where do I even start, right? What do I have to have? Do I have to even have the right mindset, the belief? Like, where do you start with people who want to become a published author to really have entrepreneurship success, specific entrepreneurship success? And I also want you to talk about why is it even necessary to even write my book? Why even put my words on paper? Why is it even necessary?
Excellent. Well, I'll start with the why first. When I did my research on thought leaders, because I mainly work with people who are coaches, speakers, service workers, consultants. Those are my main clients. So these are people that are changing people's lives and businesses. But when I went out there researching thought leaders, I found out 4 big key things. 1, they had a signature talk. 2, they had a signature system, meaning they had a process they were taking people through. 3, they had a signature book. And the 4th thing were great marketers. So I had to decide how I was going to fit into that. I could do the other things. I figured out all those other pieces. And so for me, the why is that because these are what thought leaders do, I need to have all the things. And what I found out is that when I wrote my book, I got very clear about what my system is, because I couldn't write and tell you clearly what to do and how to change your life or whatnot. Because my first book is about personal development. Second book's on productivity. And the last book is on how to write a book, right? So those, and I got plenty more books with the books that are published, but I had to figure out my process, get very clear, because I can't write the book and then you ask me follow-up questions. What do you mean right here? I have to get clear so that I can convey that message. And through that clarity, not only is my system more defined, but I also can now speak about it very clearly because the ideas have been crystallized and clarified for myself, right? After that, it's about marketing. But again, because I clarified who my audience is and who I'm speaking to, which I'll get to in just 1 second, then my marketing improves. I know what my message and the story that I'm trying to tell and the system I'm trying to bring out to them. Okay. So that's the why of it. When it comes down to it, I have 5 phases in my signature book formula. And the first phase, and it goes through it's 10 steps in it. So it's 2 steps in each phase, but it goes to the first phase is about setup and intent. And the setup portion of it, what I work with my authors to do is to define why they want to write. Okay, what it means to them. And then I have them sign a contract basically that they're going to finish this book, because people can write the book and then not publish it. Okay, you can have, there's plenty of people who have books sitting out there like, I don't know what to do. I'm scared. I'm afraid, right? So defining defining where you're going to sit at. And I have a simple thing what I call if-then statements. So I have people decide, look in their day. Sometimes I even have them go so far as to time track. Look in their, like, track their activities for a week and see what their day looks like. And I had one lady, I remember that she was couldn't figure out how we're going to write, but she was watching the stories. And y'all know what stories are, right? Like the days of our lives and stuff. I'm like, you could, are you watching them live? Like, no, I'm watching the recordings. Like, so you could watch them on the weekend or do them some, like, you have time in your day if you get rid of those things, but you might need to see what your day. So when you get that awareness about how you're wasting your time, you find out you can find more time to do it, right? So set the intention that you're going to write if-then statements. If I do this, then I will do that at this time and with this place. The second thing is about intent. Here's the thing. It's about securing the bag. Okay. Because here's the key phrase for this to remember: think profit first. And the definition of profit is a benefit, an advantage, or a gain. Benefit, advantage, or gain. So secure the bag. I use a lot of acronyms. Okay. So when I think about profit first, I decide how this book's going to help me get to where I want to go in my business. So if I want to get more speaking engagements, I need to write and talk a little, add some more stories about speaking. If I want to get certain types of clients, I can cater my book specifically to a type of client. So I need to think about how I'm going to gain the profit from this book first. And once I've done that, the rest of the book's about the ideal reader. But I need to define what that is for me first. And it solidifies all the things you're going to do from there. You want me to continue going on from there?
No, well, hold on a second, because man, that's good. I want to make sure we underscore a couple of things. Mm-hmm. So when you talked about the why,
yeah,
right? I love how you brought in the research to give context and evidence to why you would even want to write a book. So you mentioned when you looked at, the top leaders, the top experts, the evidence is clear that having a book is one of the things that makes you that thought leader.
Absolutely.
Right. So if your desire is to become a thought leader, and let me ask you this, some people may or may not know what is the benefit of a thought leader, but if you're a thought leader in a space, what does it mean for you and your business? What does it mean for you as you're positioning in the marketplace?
The easiest example to give for this is that if you say you're putting on an event and you're hiring these speakers, or you can be in the crowd and you're looking at these speakers. Two speakers to talk about the exact same topic. They can say the same words, but the one with the book is the one you're going to give more respect to. I mean, straight out, they can say talk about the same thing, but the person who has a book is going to make people like, oh, they wrote the book on it. And it's something we've already had ingrained in us, is the person who wrote the book on the subject is the person who actually knows what they're talking about.
Knows what they're talking about. I see. So if you understand the voice, what we're saying here is that it adds more credibility to you as a professional. So you stand out. So if you want to stand out among the competition, the sea of competition is out there. We say competition, right? That's out there, perceived competition. And get the bag or secure the bag, meaning if you're speaking engagement, maybe to more clients, right? This is a leverageable opportunity by becoming a thought leader. And one of those things is to write a book. Man, I love it. Absolutely. Awesome stuff. Absolutely. Yeah. And I love what you said with the bag, securing the bag. So you mentioned benefit, advantage, and gain.
Or gain. Yeah.
I love
it. That's literally the definition of profit.
Wow. Really? Yeah. I love it, man. That's good stuff. Well, keep it going, man. Keep it going through the system.
Excellent. Yeah. All right, your next. So again, if you're writing this down, the word is signature. SIGNATURE book. Signature book. So we just did the S and I, setup and intent. The G stands for gather. In the gather step, you're getting all the information. Like literally getting all the information. First, you're kind of doing a brain dump of all your stuff out of your head. And then you're going out here to the YouTubes, the Amazons, the Reddits, the websites, and all the other stuff. Back in the day, it was just an encyclopedia. We grabbed all the information, but now we have the internets and we go out here and grab all this information, right? And get it all there. See what the market is talking about and what they would like. Do your due diligence to find out what they want, because people aren't going to listen to you just because you have the right information. There are plenty of people out here who wrote okay books, but they said what people wanted to hear. And so now they're being listened to. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. They said what people wanted to hear, and so now they're being listened to. Okay. All right. So that's the G, getting our information. N is to narrow it down. Now, the narrow it down portion is about basically creating an outline, which I call a brain map. And there's 4 steps in this. There's the 4 brain strategy. The first one is the brain dump. Get all the information out of your head without any questions about whatever you put down. And you put down there a squirrel and rabbits or whatever else on and you're talking about relationships. It doesn't matter. Put it down on a piece of paper to give your brain space to come up with the idea that's behind the rabbits and squirrels. Okay. The next step after brain dump is to the brainstorm. So we're going to collect all those ideas into collective themes. Okay. And some of those are going to be rabbits and squirrels. They're just going to be off to the side. So you just put them off to the side. They don't go in the book, but you form that afterwards. Okay. The next step after the brainstorm is a brain map. Now, most of you know the brain map as an outline. Okay, but that doesn't fit with my whole brain theme. So it's brain map. So we're going to take those brainstorms, put them onto an outline in a logical sequence. And the first sequence in your book should be breaking down the problems and challenges that people have, the belief sets they have. That should be the first introduction and chapter and so forth of your book. Because you first got to meet them where they are and tell them how they're missing things. And now when they start seeing like, oh, I misunderstood that this whole time. Now you're like, this is what really you should be looking at. If you just go in and start telling ideas, then it becomes a book for somebody. Just if I really just trust you already, then I'm going to go through your steps. But if I break down, get in your head, now you're going to follow me. You're going to have more belief in what I'm trying to say in the steps I tell you. Okay.
I see.
So the brain map, lay it all out. Finally, here's the key. Here's the key to eliminating your writer's block. I learned that from Andy. I had to pause. It is brain prompts. Brain prompts. And what do I mean by prompts? I'm saying take your outline, turn them into questions. And here's why you'd ask a question. Your brain, there's a thing called elaborative elimination. Okay. And the reason what happens here is that your brain shuts down when it's asked a question. It's the reason why you can be totally focused on something and your child or somebody comes in, your wife or husband, or whatever comes and asks you a question and you answer it and you don't remember what you were doing because your brain literally shuts down everything else to answer the question. So if that's how your brain works, let's use the way your brain works to help you write your book.
Man, that's good.
Questions. Okay. There's a narrow. Okay. The A is author. This is where you're actually going to get all the ideas out of your head and put them on a paper. Now you can do a couple of things here. Remember this. I speak kind of quickly, but the average person speaks at about 150 words per minute. Okay. So if we multiply that all out and we want to do like a 30,000, 40,000 page book, you can get it done. Or excuse me, a 30,000, 40,000 word book. You can get that done in less than 4 hours. That's the reason why my book is called the 4-Hour Book, because speaking that all out, you can get a full 150, 160 page book done in 4 hours. If you have brain prompts that just trigger you, you answer the questions because you're the expert on what you're talking. So if someone asks you a question, I can ask any one of y'all a question in your topic of expertise. And I guarantee you can speak 5, 10, 20 minutes on it, every single question. That's how you write the book down very quickly. The T stands for is the touch up. In the touch up phase, we are going through and doing the editing. And I suggest you let an editor do their job. Here's a key significance here. Key distinction. There's a difference between a writer and an author. An author has ideas. A writer turns those ideas into the written word. You can have a person can be a writer and an author, but they don't have to be the same. You can be an author without being a writer. Okay, you just need to have the ideas. So once we've spoken all these things out, we get an editor to make our words say what we wanted them to say. Even if you're good at writing words, there's a reason why the John Grishams of the world still use editors. If they use editors, don't you think you should? I'm just saying. 20, 30 years of writing, they still use editors. All right. Touch up. The U stands for make it unique. That's where you're going to get the cover graphics and so forth. Please stop doing your own graphics and stop letting Boo-Boo and your cousin and them do your covers. Okay. Go get a professional graphics artist. You can go to Fiverr and get you somebody from Lithuania. I support my people down in Africa a lot of the times, and I hire my graphic artists and so forth from Africa off of Fiverr, and they do a brilliant jobs. Okay, they're professionals, but my $5 is a whole week's pay for them. Some of them. Okay, so let them do their thing and support these communities that need it, right? Make it unique. The next letter is R for reviews. That's going to go into getting your book out in front of other people. You got your readers for you, your advanced copy readers, and you may get it to somebody that's kind of like what I call a grammar Nazi. They're going to go through everything and make sure everything is in the place it's supposed to be. Reviews. The E stands for exhibition. Now we're going to put your book on display, and we're going to make sure, we put everything on display. And what's going to display, you can go out here onto the Amazons and all that stuff, however you want to do that. But you also can definitely need to put your book on your own website. Amazon's not giving you their customer list. And if you're using this to bring in more customers and clients or get more speaking engagement, they need to be coming to your website so you can get their information and follow up with them. Or you're sending the book out yourself to those people. The last thing is the book, and you can turn your book into multiple streams of income. And I can follow up on that, what that looks like, and give you an example of what it looks like, but I'll make sure give you time if you had a question about what I just went through. All of y'all like y'all taking notes and
listen. You already know we are a note-taking crowd. You hear me? We are. We are a note-taking crowd. I'm here as like writing like fast, boy, because you're dropping some serious gems, and I love what you shared. I think one of the biggest things. I mean, there's so many good stuff, but you talked about the brain shutting down when you ask a question.
Yeah.
And that was a good one. So asking yourself the right question supports you in the journey of actually writing the book. I think so many people have, these different belief systems that stop them from being able to execute, but you're showing in a very simple, systematic way through your signature process, how easy, and as you put it, in 4 hours, you can write a book. So you have inspired me through your process and what you just shared of the possibility of utilizing a different methodology to write a book. So it's been great. Awesome stuff. Hey, fellas, you have any specific questions that you guys want to ask? I don't want to monopolize.
Yeah, I want people to know where they can find
them. Well, that's for sure.
I know they're going to have questions right now.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's D. Orlando Fortune on all these internet streets. D. Orlando Fortune on all these internet streets. But if you want to have a better understanding or hear that again, what I just went through very quickly, you can go to signaturebookformula.com. It's a 16-minute video on there, and you'll hear also multiple people that I've worked with and that have been through different stages in their journey, even a young author. So you'll hear how I help them in those situations using the signature book formula.
Definitely. So go over the signature. Let's put that back up on again, because I know there definitely a lot of people going to be watching the recording. So you want to go over the signature book formula, and you're not going to be able to just see the process, but you're going to hear from other people as well who's gone through the process and be able to move forward. So once they go there and they opt in, right, and they watch the presentation, do they get an opportunity to speak with you if they have questions, or what's kind of the process there?
Yeah, so there I have it open right now. I don't have an opt-in on there because I'm testing things.
Got it.
Seeing what happens there. So the message on there is going to be very clear that if you ready to work right now, then they'll say click the button down below here.
I see.
If not, you will have the process and also link to say go ahead and grab my book. And instead of working, if you don't ready to work with me, that's some of the things I've tested. You taught me a long time ago, Darian, about just testing. Like, this is what I'm gonna do. Let's see if it works. Not trying to be the master of everything and be like, I don't know if this is gonna work. It sounds good. Let's see.
But hey, it's all about testing, right? All about testing. I love it. All right. So, fellas, any individual questions from you guys? Because I mean,
I'm gonna go ahead and I know we're coming to a close here, but obviously you are an author and a writer. So I need to know, what is your favorite book of all time? I know that people want to know, what's your favorite book of all time?
Honestly, that's such a hard question. It depends on the day. The book that I tend to recommend, there's 3 books I tend to recommend to people. Let me put it that way. Okay, 3 books I tend to recommend to people. One is Think and Grow Rich. Of course, right off the top, Think and Grow Rich. The Richest Man in Babylon, second book I tend to suggest for people to read. And then my third book is usually the Bible, just be honest. It is. So, I mean, I know that's not all over the place, whatnot. But I will tell you one book that changed everything for me is a book called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And in that book, it changed a lot of perspective on how I could become a different person by looking at the small things in my life and making small changes.
And say the name of that book one more time for us.
The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg.
Okay.
Charles
Duhigg.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, listen, fortunately, you've shared some amazing value with us today, and I know for those who participated, who are listening, they're gonna love this content from the stories that you shared, the life lessons that you shared, the gift of value that you delivered today, and of course, talking about the opportunities to be able to extend your value through writing, right? Sharing your voice. And I wanted to give you kind of like this last opportunity. When we say beyond just the obvious in promoting your business, what is the bigger purpose in you writing your book? What is the legacy that one gets to leave when you make the decision to say yes to yourself and then share your word to some sort of written form?
Oh, absolutely. This is what I call the one book away philosophy. And the thing behind that is that at almost every step in my life, I've looked for the book to help me learn something that was going to change my life. And that's why it wasn't one book when Mr. Bobby asked me the question, because there's multiple books that have given me different perspectives. I am a multidimensional individual. So no one book has given me other than the Bible. Now, all the rest of them is a piece here from relationship, this one on finances, this one on health, this one on this and that and the other, right? So that one book away philosophy says that I'm one book away from the next breakthrough in my life and in my business. So if I'm out here looking for books that are going to give me the next breakthrough in whatever area of my life that I'm trying to get it in, then it is my job to turn around and do the same thing for the next person. Once I've given those breakthroughs, I need to pass on that same blessing that I was given when someone decided to take the time, because writing a book ain't easy. It's hard work to get it out. They took the time to do that. I'm going to do the same thing for the next person. Now, my scripture tells me that I'm supposed to be going ahead and leaving a legacy for my children, my children's children. What better way than a book? Than I know of. I mean, you can do it in journals. It's the same thing. Like Jim Rohn said, to get you a journal, leave it on for your kids. But the next level is for everyone else.
Wow, I love that philosophy. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for that inspiration. That to me is such a huge reason why, Jim Rohn always talks about reasons come first. Right?
Yes.
And that is such a huge reason for one to step into really sharing, because oftentimes we do things for other people that we may not do for ourselves. And so that gives us a real legitimate reason to be at greater service to humanity and to the next person, so that they can have the breakthroughs in their life. So, man, thank you so much for that. Thank you for saying yes to yourself and being an individual who is an example of what it looks like, as Lamont says, with the definition of success, to have gone from life lessons to life lessons, or we call them failure moments, without losing one's enthusiasm. Absolutely. and just keeping going, man, to success. So, for me, I'm out of questions. I appreciate your value. If you guys have any additional questions before,
I do have one other additional thing to tell you.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
I know you guys talk about success. Awesome. And I love the Earl Nightingale's definition of success, where he says success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Worthy ideal. So it doesn't say you necessarily get there, but you're necessarily going towards it. But the last thing I wanted to say here is about turning your book into multiple streams of income. Yeah, it's a very, very important thing. And I'll give you a quick story. Y'all can see an example of it. When I wrote this last book, I had Evernote, and I wrote down an outline about what I wanted to talk about. I put out ads and so forth for a workshop. There's going to be a afternoon workshop, half day intensive type thing. We're going to get your book done, or at least get started on it, right? So I got there, And people bought tickets to it, so people paid me to present. When I presented, I recorded the presentation. That presentation ended up getting chopped up into the first version of my course. So I ended up selling that course again. I sold the workshop that I got paid to create a workshop that I could sell over and over. I took that recording, turned it into, transcribed it, edited it, and turned it into the first version of the book, the first edition of the book, with some editing and all that type of stuff. So, and then I took that same outline while I was still working on the transcript and all that stuff, just had an outline, and I started taking sales calls. I made my first $27.50, I believe it was, for the first client I had, because when I got on a call with her, I basically had my outline. Here are the 10 steps I had that I just taught that weekend, right? And I'm like, all right, so do you know where you're going to write? You know, do you have a process, you know, where you're going to and decide on that? No? Okay, boom. All right, she needs to tell up. All right, and I went through my process. There's a key tip for y'all trying to learn about sales and high ticket sales. I already have the process I'm going to take people through. So if I ask them questions based on my process, then if they have a problem with the process, all I got to do is say, I got a problem. I got a solution for that.
Right.
Message. Right. But anyway, so that's when I sold it based off the outline. So my book's outline sold a workshop, created a course, created the book, and sold high ticket coaching.
Right. Wow. He just gave us, hey, y'all didn't realize what y'all just got right there. Hey, they didn't realize what they just got right there. Y'all got a masterclass in literally less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Multiple streams of income. Okay. Listen, if you heard what the man just said, don't sleep on that. Y'all just got a masterclass in 5 minutes in multiple streams of income. Okay. Damn, man. Listen, I need y'all to go over. Listen, go throw back up the link, please. Throw the link back up. Throw the link back up, fellas. After that, y'all need to go over to signaturebookformula.com. That's signaturebook.com, and I need you to watch our presentation and go ahead and book a call with Master Mr. Fortune, right? I ain't playing with y'all today, right? Go ahead.
Look, you know Darian's getting excited when his accents start getting stronger. Right?
What y'all talking about? What y'all talking about?
Don't play with me. And you know, I just came from a cruise too with our island people. It's strong. But
it's strong.
It's strong, man. It's strong. So listen, go over to signaturebookformula.com. Watch that presentation. You have just received, man, such a blessing from the Fortune today, man. And we are thankful and grateful. We're going to have you back. And as you know, in this community, we're about supporting entrepreneurs to grow. And we believe that having a book is part of the success equation. And so we want to enroll you, sir, in, definitely coming back to share your wisdom and be part of some of the other things we're going to be doing in conferences to help support our community to be able to be thought leaders, to differentiate themselves, and to really be at higher purpose in sharing their message. So thank you for the gift of value. Guys, go over to signaturebookformula.com. That's signaturebookformula.com. That is signaturebookformula.com. And be sure to watch that presentation. And for those of you guys that are ready, listen, highly recommended that you go ahead and set up a call with our guest expert tonight. So with that said, I believe we have also inspiration injection. Or do you guys have any questions for the Fortune, or where we? Talk to us, fellas.
Yeah, we just want to thank Fortune for being here. We're going to put you backstage. We're going to close out the show. You can stick around for a couple minutes. That'll be great.
Yes, sir.
Again, man, this was a great conversation. I'm going to write my book, y'all.
It is written.
It is written.
It is written. It is done.
It is written. Hey, Bobby, you got an inspiration injection for us, brother?
Absolutely, I sure do, man. And listen, guys, if you under the sound of Fortune's voice, if you have listened to this guy and you said to yourself, "Hey, I have a book inside me. I should have published." Look, we went through it also. All the fellas you see here, we all had books. Listen, I'm embarrassed because Fortune said he only had his book for 18 months. Everybody here had ours for over a decade, right? But we were able to accomplish it. And one of the advantages that we had is that we were able to come together, right? We got a bunch of guys come together and say, "Hey, man, you were supposed to do it. You were supposed to do it. Yeah, I was supposed to do it." And we were able to write our book as well. So, as we said at the beginning of the show, this is the environment where you can get with like-minded people and take advantage of these opportunities to put yourself out there, gain more income, get more influence, and really begin to make a huge impact on the world. So definitely reach out to him, join the community. We got it going on here, and I'm so excited, man. We got another writer and author amongst us. That ends our show for tonight. We appreciate you guys joining us here tonight. This is CF Talks, where we have heart level conversations that lead to transformation. Our inspiration injection for tonight, based on what Fortune shared with us, is don't say you can't until you prove you can. And we both know that's not going to happen. So thank you for enjoying the show. As we say here at Confidence Factor, in everything that you do, make sure that you keep it
Hard level.
Hard level.
See you guys next week.
All right.